was messy. Let's be honest, messy. But I was friends with Jeffree Star, and I was very proud of it.
It feels like you're putting your hands inside of a box and you don't know what's in the box, but it's going to be sharp.
He doesn't care about artists. He doesn't care about... He doesn't understand as well artists. So it has become an utter sewage, like a dumpster. Oh my god, my phone was just going crazy. It was going crazy. Within like a few hours, I had like 100 something K. In the first 30 minutes that we were chatting, one of the first things that he told me is, I am planning to chop my left hand off to have a robotic hand. She knew everything about my life. It was so bad. At some point, I'm crying while tattooing, in silence.
All right, okay. So, on occasion, we film weird shit because we can. And on this occasion, we're filming weird shit while I'm getting stabbed in the thigh by my friend Delphine. So, yeah, impromptu podcasty kind of thing.
Hello.
We're going to be talking, probably about a lot of bullshit, but a lot about tattooing and social media. So, the amazing human being who's currently stabbing my thigh is Delphine Noiztoy. How do you pronounce your...
Like exactly like that.
Noiztoy. I've never asked you this before. We've known each other for 10-ish years.
Plus, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Probably 12.
I've not tattooed for that long.
No?
I don't think so. So that's unlikely. Well, I think I've tattooed for 12 years. Since 2000... No, wait, what year is it? 2023? I've tattooed for 14 years. So maybe 12 years.
That's 12 years we know each other. Yeah.
Time flies
We're old.
when you're tattooing people and having children and shit like that. First time we met was London Tattoo Convention. I think I was guesting at your studio. At this, I went to the convention and met you first, and then guested at your space. I think. I'm not sure.
I don't even know. I can't remember.
I know we insulted a lot of people.
Oh my god,
Or
yes.
we insulted a female rabbi. She got very upset.
Why are we like this?
Huh?
Why are we like this?
Autism.
Yeah.
Autism, baby. Autism.
Autism.
And yeah. We hang out every once in a while. I've guested at your studio.
We rant online together.
Yes.
Yes.
And stuff. And so recently you did a social media post about how social media sucks, which is really funny. I thought it was a very poignant post because it really hit the nail with a very large hammer about how I feel about social media, which is ironic because right now we're filming this shit for social media, so fuck you all. Because I now spend at least a third of my time working on social media things, like prepping, filming, coming up with ideas and planning fucking raffles and dumb shit. And a large part of my team is focused around social media.
It's nuts.
How the fuck did we get there? We became enslaved to Instagram, and then shit went from there. I think I would like to start by mentioning, like, my career started out slightly before the big time of social media. Facebook was a thing, Instagram was in its budding years, but I started out with DeviantArt.
I started with MySpace.
You started on MySpace.
Uh-huh.
What was the music on your page when you went to MySpace?
The music on MySpace,
Did you have a chosen?
I think it was Otica.
Otica?
Yeah, some breakcore.
Oh, okay.
Very glitchy breakcore. Yeah. Because it
Color
feels...
theme, very dark.
Yes. I think it was black.
Okay.
Yes, but it was very fetish orientated at the time because I was also a fetish model.
Oh.
And working in that industry to finance my tattoo career. So yeah, mine was very a mix of techno parties, metal gigs, fetish stuff, suicide girl shit, and tattoo was messy. Let's be honest, messy. But I was friends with Jeffree Star, and I was very proud of it.
Okay. So, I mean, MySpace was pretty good. DeviantArt back then was also pretty good. Not that it was so much social media, but it was in a weird way for artists.
I never got into it.
What, DeviantArt?
No, never.
It's just an art platform, but I had mine from back when I did special effects. And then I used it as a startup platform when I started tattooing, and that really helped.
Huh.
Because it helped funnel people onto my Facebook and my Instagram back when I did really shitty tattoos. And then shit took off and all of that. And quite early on in the game, I realized that, this social media thing is pretty important.
Yeah.
It seems to do something, because I started quite early on to have like international clients and shit like that. But I think our genre of the industry, of the business of tattooing, has been pretty good at catching on with social media compared to certain others. I know a lot of old school tattoo artists and such that they fucking never got around to it. Many of them still haven't gotten around to it.
No, and they're lucky, to be honest, because they're not enslaved by it. They still get the type of customers that I love. They get like collectors.
Yeah, the loyalists.
The loyalists, the traditional loyalists, and I used to prefer how it was before the enslavement of Instagram, to be honest, because I used to get that, and now I'm getting more and more newbies. I'm not quite fond of it because they are newbies and they have very little tattoo culture, education, and I'm not really good at being PC, so I prefer the loyalists for that, because they're not PC and you can have very interesting conversations without having to worry about the vocabulary you use. So
you worry about the vocabulary you use?
Yes and no. I don't like hurting people, and I'd like them to come back. And I have a few that don't come back. So, because I deal with chicks, man. That's different. You get like Viking-looking people.
Fuck off. I do have female clients. I think I have like 20% female clientele. I know that yours is probably the opposite.
I get mostly chicks, and my male demographic is very specific. It's autistic computer boys that do either animation, programming, hacking, or work Silicon Valley. So that's very specific. And they always get the same type of tattoo, so very specific, like the brushwork boys and the pattern people. So male-wise, are very sensitive, extremely neurodivergent men. And female, I get a bit of everything, but mostly moms, which I love. Moms on the loose.
Nice.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right, so to focus on the fucking social media nightmare that we are forever bound to now.
Are we?
Well, unless we do something about it. It was weird with Facebook, but it got bad with Instagram. Because Instagram really catered to us as artists and to the joy of presenting our work to the world and all this shit. And then all of a sudden they started basically holding us hostage by changing the algorithms at their own random fucking wheel.
It's when Facebook got bought by Instagram. Instagram got bought by Facebook. Before it was fine, and then as soon as Facebook bought it, then they implemented their capitalist mindset.
It became a lot of money making.
Yeah, that's exactly why. Like as soon as Zuck bought Instagram, because the guys who created Instagram, they were like photographers, right? and something like this, because it was a platform for photographers. And when they sold, Zuckerberg is a POS, you know, a big one. He's a schizoid, narcissistic nerd. And
normally just call him a bag of dicks. Yeah,
yes, but that's what he is. That's why social media is the way it is. You have to see that Sam Vaknin interview because it's brilliant. But Zuck bought Instagram and he was like, let's make money. And he doesn't care about artists. He doesn't care about, he doesn't understand as well artists. So it has become an utter sewage, like a dumpster, you know? And the algorithm is what ruins people. Like you're having machines deciding for you. Like, what do you freaking expect, you know? Like, what do you freaking expect? So yeah, sorry. It was my little interjection.
No, it's good. Part of why we're having this conversation. So, the whole Instagram circus nightmare. One of the big pitfalls is that they will change the algorithm and not tell anyone what the algorithm has been changed to. So we're just guessing. To start with, it took me forever to find out that, stop posting pictures, post videos instead. What the fuck? This is a photo platform. Now it's videos. What is this shit?
Now it's gone back. Just to interject.
Oh god.
They've put the chronologic feedback, but you have to go and click it every single time you open the app. And that's when the chronological feed was removed. That's where the biggest actual collapse of it happened.
That was ridiculous. I loved being able to watch my feed in chronological order.
Yeah, but you can do it, but you have to go and pick it and do it, and it resets every single time. I try to do it, but I forget because ADHD. But seeing it in chronological order is very nice because you see who you want to see, and then when you come back to the place that you had seen before, you just get out of the platform, and that's why they don't like it, because they want you to be messed up, and they want your eyeballs on the thing, they want your time. The more time you pass on there, the more you see ads and crap. So it's just all about enslaving your eyeballs, you know.
Yeah, and enslaving people to that specific platform, which is really the big issue. It's hard to get away from using these platforms.
Can we make one?
I've thought about it so many times.
With Adam, we had
the level of funding you need to create something like that, because the servers are bloody expensive.
Yeah, because with Adam, we made a prototype, and then we got in contact with someone that his dad knows that is in this, because his dad is in tech, and the guy was like, no, we're not interested. We don't think it will work. And then like we did that years and years ago. We still have the prototype, and now like all the features that we had put on our thing, Instagram has put them on, and we're like, we could have made something great. So yeah.
There are also social media-ish platforms out there for tattoo artists that have been made.
No.
But they're all quite shit because they're so heavily focused on
just tattoo.
Selling products and selling designs and pitching things. But I just showed the fucking artwork. That was what it was in the beginning, and that was really, really lovely.
There was Vero that tried to emerge.
That fucking failed though.
It's such a shame.
I did have it, and what the hell?
Yeah, a rumor was spread that the guy that made it like was funding some like war shit or whatever. Yeah, it was the whole drama. Turns out it was wrong, but people had registered that in their mind, and then boom, gone. You know. So yes.
So yeah, we're shackled ball and chain to this shit, which is really, really tiresome. As a creative person, I prefer to spend my time drawing, coming up with things, writing books and such, but instead I have to think out fun posts and gaggy gimmicks and say you're not fucking miking to the camera all the time to get people on board and keep you all interested out there. And it's not that fun. I get a lot of shit from people. I also get a lot of people laughing because they think it's really funny, this whole you're not a fucking Viking.
Yeah.
But every time we make a post about it, we also get a good 20 people going like, oh, it's again, just fuck off with it. Like, yeah, it's not because it's the greatest joy in my life to make this kind of video or these clips, but it is what feeds my videos to everyone. meaning that you will see my artwork, see my tattoos, see my books, and that's what pays my bills. So if I want to survive as an individual artist, but also as a business owner, and I want my team to have a job, then I need to do this shit all the fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
Because none of you fuckers out there go onto other platforms. Like, my work is in many places. My books are promoted in many places. But you're all just stuck on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And hoping that you will even use Google is not very likely. So
It's bad.
So we have to use this shit. And at the same time, we have to, it feels really stupid. Like, it feels like you're putting your hands inside of a box and you don't know what's in the box, but it's going to be sharp. Because this whole changing the algorithm all the time, it's just, like, I've made, oh god, we've come up with really cool videos, really fun ideas, filmed them, posted them, and nothing happened because it didn't suit the algorithm that had changed 4 days ago or some shit like that.
You know, I had figured out something. Like, when I put that video, the hey, are you burnt out? Like, this video was born out of not thinking about it. I was pissed off. I just had a bunch of conversation. I think I talked with you, and then I talked with a few different people who were talking about burnout and social media and blah, 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 blah. And I was alone, and I was like, I need to send one of my famous mental health bottles at sea, because I do this. And just dump online, because it feels great. It's like taking a shit, you know, fantastic. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this thing. And I filmed it, and a customer of mine who is really fantastic at social media was like, try filming it straight away from your stories, save the videos from the stories, then edit all of it within the app. Do not edit it on an outside app. So okay, I did that, and I filmed it, and at some point, man, every time I kept on stumbling, and at some point I was like, and I did it, and I was like, okay, I'm done with this shit. And then I edited it, and then I cut little things, and I spent some time finding the music, and la 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 la. And then I posted it, went about my day, and oh my god, my phone was just going crazy. It was going crazy, and I'm like, 1,000 views, 2,000 views. Within like a few hours, I had like 100 something K, and that never happened to me. So I was like, fuck. And then it kept on going up and going up and going up. And last week, it finally stopped growing. And I posted this in August, and I gained 32,000 followers.
Oh shit.
From it, and I was steadily going 100 followers every day. Now it's completely stopped, and I'm starting to go down again. I had posted another video following that, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna see if editing through the app and everything works, and if it's that. And the second video did really well as well, like 200,000 views. It's not as good, but it was good enough. And then I did another one that didn't work. And I was like, oh. And then I tried another one, spending more time, and I did those tattoo reels, and they did slightly better than my previous stuff, but it didn't do as well. And I was like, okay, face cam is what works. It's about face cam. It's about being frontal. But I don't want to go again, like I have to go every video and go like, hey you want to know about accounting? Hey you want to know about how to wipe your ass? You know, I think that's what I got to do. And everybody was like, oh, you've got to carry on. And I'm like, nah, can't do it. No, I have plenty of ideas of stuff to do. But just because I have to do it, I'm not gonna. Because you want me to do it, I have to do it. No, it's like commissions. I'm incapable of doing commissions. I'm terrible at it. Then I go, take your money back. I don't want it. You know, like, no. Fuck that, yes. So the algorithm thing, I don't know. I don't even know if really someone in the US was telling me that there wasn't such thing as them changing the algorithm, that the algorithms were like basically morphing on their own constantly.
I know that there's so much programming involved by now that they're sort of out of control. There's things that you can't, as a company, they can't hold it back. They can't reel in that weird horse that's gone completely mental. but they do make like overall procedures and like implement like a whole new set of this is now how we want this to work, this is what we want people to do. And you can tell because the moment someone finds out about it, they make a video going, okay, so I've hacked the new algorithm, I did this is what happens, you do it, and you then do it and it fucking works.
Yeah.
So there is, you know, there's directions set out, but there's also still just these little things that just work. We did one.
It's exhausting.
We did one video that was basically a cheat. It was ridiculous. It was on TikTok, and I made a text about something Viking-y. Relatively small bit of text, but too long to read it within 10 seconds.
Yes, so people had to do and go again.
So people just sat and watched it again and again and again. So everyone wanting to read my ridiculous text had to watch that clip 3 times, 4 times maybe. And that made the algorithm push it out to more and more people.
Yeah.
And it gained us like 50,000 bloody followers on TikTok. Just because of a dumb little hack like that.
I watched that video, I think. And I was like, why did you do it that way?
Yeah.
I was getting so frustrated. I almost texted you, like rage text. Like, why? I got so pissed about it. That's the thing, I've got nothing to say. I'm not creative like you. Like, I'm a photocopier, so I'm a ranter, so I know how to rant. But
I completely disagree. I don't think you're a photocopier at all. I've seen your creations. I've seen your paintings. I wear your tattoos. It's not like this whale is just a picture that you copied onto me. It's your interpretation of several images and lots of stuff that you came up with, all in your style.
well, okay.
That's being an artist.
Okay, maybe sometime I get inhabited by some weird ass muse or whatever, but I don't know how to channel it, okay? I don't know.
Fair. That's how it works. It is a weird issue that we don't believe in muses anymore, though.
Yeah, because whenever I try to like summon that thing, it's just like, nah, I'm on holidays today, fuck you. And then it comes up at the most random time, like I don't have the time to do this thing, and then I'm like, oh my god, I feel the sacred fire burning inside me. And then suddenly I look at my house and I'm like, but I need to tidy the house first because I can't create if it's not tidy.
Yeah.
And by the time it's tidy, that shit's gone. I'm like, fuck off. Like, fuck off.
It is a difficult and volatile thing, really, because you get in the mood to create, and then, yeah, it just fizzles out while doing something else. Trying to find your fucking pens to draw with, and by the time you found them, the idea's gone.
Yeah.
Shit like that. It's all the time.
Yeah.
And I think for non-creative people, it's really easy to forget. And on that subject, I see a lot of non-creative people. They get angry with me if I'm political, because why am I political? Well, I'm a human being and I have an opinion.
Same.
So I don't really understand why I'm not allowed to be political and use my platform. Art has been used as a platform for politics for 3,000 years.
Exactly. Wasn't art supposed to be, the artist supposed to be the revolutionary?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because back in the days, like, art and music, like Rage Against the Machine, man.
Yeah.
And now people who are taking all the codes of the alternative artistic people, they're taking all our codes, our dress up, like everything, and instead of like, fuck you, I won't do what they tell me, they're like, fuck you, do what they tell you, you know, like, do it. You know, it's like, what? Like, we were looking at people in London the other day with Adam. It was like young people, and they had all the codes of the alternative douchebags, you know. But all they want is to be accepted by everybody. We didn't want that. We're outcast. We wanted to be like as far society as possible. Like, I remember like walking in the streets and you'd see someone with a tattoo and you had that little nod, kind of like, you're my crew. And now we're like, you look at someone, you do that nod, and like, what the fuck do you want? What do they want, fucking freaks?
No, now
like,
when I see people who's like tattooed, I see how heavily tattooed they are and what style it is before I even dare to nod at them.
Yeah, I'm trying now. I'm like learning the codes, the new codes. And
The
it's
world
so
has changed
weird.
a lot.
But that's internet. Internet made everything accessible. Like, you remember the word underground?
Yeah.
Underground does not exist anymore. It's off the ground and up the sky.
I have a good example of that. Back in 1982, the year I was born, there was
old.
fuck off. But yes.
You're older than Adam.
There was a tattoo magazine in New York that featured neo-tribals.
Yes.
Neo-tribal tattoos. 1982.
Yeah.
That shit didn't make it to Europe for another 10 years. That's amazing. Now, if someone comes up with something fancy in San Francisco, it's in Berlin tomorrow, being tattooed by someone else. And it's stressy.
I don't find it
hell.
I don't find it great.
No, it lacks charm somehow. Because the growth of neo-trad tattoos in those 10 years was really cool. And I know a lot of people hate neo-tribal. A lot of people hate neo-tribals. No, they're just weird, spiky things. I think they're fucking cool.
I love them.
And I still love it when someone does them.
I love it.
And it's sad that it's become sort of an obsolete art, which, by the way, it isn't. A lot of what we still do, the geometry and black work, is just grown upon neo-tribal.
But yeah, look, the guys who made all the black work, you know. Like, remember Zed? He walked the 1994 Jean-Paul Gaultier with all the fucking, how would they call themselves? Modern primitive guys. All the modern primitive guys like walked that Jean-Paul Gaultier catwalk in Paris. And it was crazy with all that like Indian music, and they look like all of them like assholes, but that's fucking great. And they were like just so like, wow, you know. And now this is just obsolete, and I find that so crazy. You know?
And extreme is now even more extreme, and
man, I had this kid in
everyone
America.
has eyeball tattoos.
I had this kid in America, right, in September. This kid walked in and he's covered in that cyber sigilism.
Okay, yeah.
Cyber sigilism. And he's very lovely, he's very stressed out, but he's like super happy. He's like, oh my god, I can't believe I meet you, I'm gonna get tattooed by you, blah, 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 blah. He was very late, he was an hour and 15 minutes late, and I hate this, I hate it. Like, I hate it. I can come late, you can't, okay? And I'm really late now. And he comes in and he's stressed and blah blah blah, but whatever, I ease everything. And he went on, like, I think in the first 30 minutes that we were chatting, one of the first things that he told me is, I am planning to chop my left hand off to have a robotic hand. And everybody in the room was like, what? And how are you going to do that? He's like, oh, I'm planning, because he works in neuroscience. He's a neuroscience student. Fair enough, whatever the fuck. And he was like, oh, I want to do it on a live stream with my team. And I'm like, wait, your team? Like, your team of doctors or whatever? What, you're going to cut your own hand? And he went on to like a very brief explanation. And we were like, you obviously don't understand how amputation works. Because you will empty yourself of your blood on live stream, you know, like, it's too very long to explain. But basically, he had
Did you just think that he could fucking do it himself?
Yes. And basically, for 2 days, because I tattooed him 2 days in a row, he got schooled. And by the end, he couldn't really defend transhumanism anymore. And yeah, I was like, okay, I'm all for body hacking. I was part of this heavy body mod movement, you know, as you know, like I used to be suspending and I have a heavy body mod. I spent a long period of my life in relationships with body modificators. Dude, the body is not that easy to hack like that. You can't do it on a live stream of your own. And internet has made that to people wanting to make kids into machines, and that kid was so delusional. It was insane. He couldn't grasp the reality of his own body. And he really wanted to have his mind uploaded into a fucking robot so he could be free from the limitations of the body. And I was like, this, okay, I can understand, but...
That's just a dumb wish to live forever.
Yes, and that's sad. I think it's so sad. And then...
It would be shit to be uploaded into a can and lose all the sensory input of the human body.
But after 2 days of chatting to the kid and having very deep conversations, I ended up having this beautiful chat about the fact that he's from, I'm not going to go too much in detail in case but he's from a very wealthy family. He wasn't really taken care of emotionally. Financially he was, but he has very massive love issues, and he wasn't loved by his parents, you know. He was treated like a luggage and like another one guy, like this. And he just wanted to annihilate his body because love, you know. And by the end I was like, hey, you should really do therapy. And I think the next time I see you, I put him in touch with like EMDR and all of this. We talked very thoroughly about it, and he cried a lot in my arms, and he was like, thank you so much, I'm gonna go through it. And I'm waiting for news from him.
I'm sure you handled that really well.
Yes, it was great. It was great. By the end, we had like, I gave him like a real hug, but I was like, oh my God, I'm dying inside. But yes, it was great. And at the end of it, I was like, everybody needs love at the moment. And I feel like the tattoo industry, one of the things that social media is doing, it's removing the humanity and love between people. You know, the organic thing. I feel like nowadays, if you want to eat really well and not be sick, so you have to eat organic food, right? But it's very expensive, very difficult. You want organic relationships? It's a big price, it's at a big cost. If you want organic relationships, or you've got to make a choice. You can't be on social media, you know. But then you don't get work. Then you don't get this, that. Like, ooh, social media. It's for psychopaths. But yeah, that kid, the transhumanism thing, dude, I was like, you live online, my dude. I was like, you're completely disconnected from reality. At some point I was like, do you even have sex? That was a funny subject to go on, because
No?
not really. They don't have sex, they don't reproduce, the kids now.
Well,
you know?
I can't fucking blame people for not wanting to reproduce to start with.
No, it's not even that. They don't even know how to talk to each other.
No.
They don't know how to interact. You know?
I know that's a big problem in Japanese culture.
Yeah, they're disappearing.
Lack of the ability to connect. But in all fairness, like the way that people communicate with me, I can only speak from my own point of view, online, it drives me mental. Some of the stuff that people will write to me as the first fucking message.
Well, like Heil Hitler.
Well, that happens.
I get that too. I don't know why.
No, but you and I clearly look like neo-Nazis, or what? Like, I don't... Why?
I'm not blonde, I don't have blue eyes. I have swastikas on me, but not those ones, you know?
Very different ones.
And nobody sees them, either. Like, what... I got a guy that sent me, oh my God, you're like my dream, like you're like my right-wing dream. And I was like...
What the fuck? Also, both of us would have been thrown into fucking concentration camps if we'd been alive.
Annihilated, exterminated. Like, I'm like, what? So what do you get?
No, but it's just like, you get a message that starts with like, hey dude, or hey my man, or hey Pete. Don't ever fucking call me Pete. It's not my fucking name.
Hey Pete, hey Pete, hey.
It's just so weird. Like, try speaking, writing like a normal person. Use grammar. If you don't know grammar, ask someone that does. Like,
ask a friend.
It's people who want me to tattoo at least a limb on them, right? Like, tattoo an arm. Very often it's like, people will want me to do a bodysuit on them or something like that. But they expect that they can communicate with me as if I am their weed head friend from the parking lot. And it really upsets me in a weird way, because social media makes people communicate in like such an impolite, primitive way. I have no problem talking shit with my friends, or my friends using nicknames for me and shit like that. But if you are a complete stranger and you would like to solicit me to decorate your entire fucking body, and me investing all of that time and all of that artwork on you, please just be a little bit polite in your approach. And that's just the politeness. Then there's all the weird shit that, that comes after.
Yeah.
And those, some of that's details I don't want to get into.
People get so rude. You know, like I get comments. I've had, thanks Instagram, they've made like you can have a list of words that are forbidden. So you can put all those words, and as soon as a comment appears with that word, it gets automatically erased.
Oh, okay.
And I set this up when I had that video that went viral, because there was most comments were very lovely, but then I would get crazy as fucking things. With 90k, you're not doing too bad for yourself, are you? Like, blah, blah, blah. Dude, numbers online don't mean shit in real life. I got from that 1.5 million view video, 3 appointments. 3. But I got about 3,000 DMs to ask me where I live. A few guys that were like, I'm in love with you, I want to marry you. Oh, so weird. Dick pics.
Oh, God.
I probably have about 200 dick pics.
Should make a reel of him. Make it into like
an
online art piece.
Yeah, but then like I get fucking my account will be banned.
No, I was kidding.
I thought about it. I outed a bunch of like messages from some guys in my story. I put a bunch of like of the stories, and I didn't hide their names or anything. I was like, fuck you. I got so many rude things, and like a guy managed to track my address. And another guy stalked me in LA and found me in LA.
What the fuck?
Yeah. He waited for me, I guess for hours coming out of the shop where I'm working. And he tracked me.
And then people wonder why women are a little bit fucking nervous about walking alone in the dark. Like, what the actual fuck?
But online it's pretty crazy. I received insane messages, like stuff that guys what they would like to do to me. They're like, oh, a girl like you, they like to be pounded hard, and you like anal, and I would do this and that to you, and I'm like, I'm very scared to cross you on the street, my dude.
You're jumping to some serious conclusions.
Yeah, I'm actually very vanilla. But yeah. And being like, I'm very sorry, my friend, but I'm a mother, I'm married, and not available. And it's crazy. Like, oh, you saw a video of me talking about...
Oh, and if you weren't, you'd probably not choose that fucking weirdo as your first choice of who to go on a date with. Because he approached you like a psychopath online, thinking that that's even remotely okay.
No, but you know the crazy thing? Like, you saw a video, like a less than a minute video of me talking about burnout. And somehow it resonated with you, great. But you can't fall in love with someone like this. You don't know. I might be a psycho that like eviscerating people. You don't know, you know? It's gonna be okay. But
very, very comforting thing to say while you're sitting near my crotch with a needle in your hand. Thanks.
But that's crazy. Like, internet has made people so disconnected from others.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
but people think they know you because you exist online. There's a lot of people that will
say that
write
they know you.
Me very direct things and send me family photos and stuff like that because they think I should just be involved in it. And some of that stuff is very sweet, but it's just weird because
you don't want to know.
I don't even like people in real life. So
I confirm.
On social media, it gets even more abstract because I don't trust people in real life. I'm very skeptical about humans.
Same.
And then when there's the filter of a phone or a computer in front of people, we all know that they're even weirder and even more volatile. So, you know, my ability to trust strangers online is a little fragile.
Same.
And for good fucking reason, if we just talk business statistics, in a good day, if we do a good video about something, we'll get like 30 messages and comments from people who's like, oh my god, how do I book with you? Because I need you to tattoo me. But out of those 30, we get 3 emails.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like, we have a waiting list that's a mile long anyway, so it's not like I'm thirsting for work. But people will write that they want to get tattooed by me.
They never go through.
Because they want me to like their comment and be like, oh yeah, that would be nice, kind of thing. Because they want affirmation. From a fucking stranger that they think is cool because I am daft enough to say fuck off and you're not a fucking Viking. And for that, for some reason, that resonates enough with them for them to want my acceptance or my praise or something.
It's so weird. I didn't tell you about that lady I tattooed in LA. She was amongst my first 2 customers. Mm-hmm. And to this day, it's the worst tattoo experience of my life.
Okay.
So she comes in. She comes in, she looks very inoffensive, like mid-50s, very tiny lady. And I'll try to make it short because it's a very complex thing that lasted a month. Yeah.
All right, this sounds promising.
Yeah, so she walks in and within 10 minutes of her being in the room, I felt like I got hit by a wall of sound. I was knocked off my feet. And she didn't know what she wanted. It took about 4 hours to decide what she wanted. And I had to really pick. And she had references that didn't make any sense. Nothing made sense. And she sat next to me and she went trauma dumping 10 minutes in. Blah, 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 blah. But we don't talk about just like the regular trauma dumping or I went through abuse or I got raped. We're not talking about this. Full gory details of every single thing. And she used to work in music but became a paramedic. She was initially a 911 responder, then became like a paramedic. And all the stories that she talked about were related to overdose, babies, domestic abuse, things that I could very, very much relate to because you know my past, right?
Very light-hearted tea conversation that she came up with.
Very heavy.
Jesus.
And the thing is, there's a lot of elements that we clocked afterwards with the owner of the studio and the other tattooer that works there. I said we kept on remembering crazy details and she knew everything about my life. Everything. Dates, things. She kept on talking about Jan.
What the fuck?
Uh-huh. And
that's downright creepy.
Yeah, and she knew
hang on, I need to correct my butt.
Everything. And then during the week we clocked that she's been following me since the start of my Instagram. She's been emailing me since 2011.
Okay.
To get that to me, something like this. She knew everything about my life. Everything. And the thing is she had been one of those people that talks to me and I would always respond very nicely and she thought that we had a friendship.
Yeah, okay.
A full-on friendship. And I hadn't clocked it was her, and so we agreed on the tattoo and I'm like, okay, is there something that you like that we can agree on? And she's like, yeah, I have artichokes. And I didn't clock that she had loads of tattoos by legends in the tattooing industry.
Okay.
Unfinished, all of them.
Oh, I wonder why.
And I agreed to add to a piece from some Italian artists that had done brushworks, brush strokes. They were pretty. They didn't heal properly, but that was a very pretty tattoo. Nothing bad, very nicely balanced. But I was like, okay, I don't normally add to people's work, but we were 4 hours in. I had 4 hours left to work. I was like, I can't just tell you no, and I didn't want to lose my day, and I was already absolutely shattered by a soul, by a thing. I had no soul. It had fully left the building. And I was like, let's do this. And we agreed on an artichoke leaf. And I explained, okay, it's brushwork. Brushwork is a bit peculiar, da-da-da-da-da. And I go on with my work. I settle in my tattoo, all good. And she's just talking and talking and talking. It became so bad that everybody else in the room put headphones on. And I kept on saying, I don't want to hear about this. And then at some point, my friend Jay, he's like, oh my God, he's like one of the loveliest boy ever. He's a lettering artist. He's from the East Coast, but he lives in LA. He's magnificent. He's beautiful to look at, very talented, so clever, and he's very much into all the things that we are into, you know. He's got it all. He's like a perfect 20-year-old. I think he's like late 20s, but he's perfect. Super sweet. And he kind of came to my rescue, and we started talking about like politics, which always lift up my mood, and subjects and blah blah blah. And that customer, we tried to like shut her down as much as possible, and she kept on coming back with fucking paramedic stories that were totally unrelated. And at some point she was talking about something about a kid, and she was like, yeah, and this kid was psychopath, and he told me how he wanted to RIP his mother, and stuff like this. It was so bad. At some point I'm crying while tattooing in silence, and I just wanted to get done with it. So I finished the tattoo to the best I can, and I'm like, okay, we'll have another session in March when I come back, blah, 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 blah. And she wasn't leaving. She kept on staying. She was sticking around. And I was like, listen, it's getting late. I'm not going to be able to have dinner. You have to go. And then, like, Jay had to be like, hey, yeah, because he stayed with me till the end as well, which was super lovely. And then she left. I was just so shook. I couldn't even talk anymore. I was just like, you know. So I went to have dinner, and I came to the house, and that's where there was the cockroaches.
Oh yeah, okay.
And I fully fucked up with that person. Full on, like full blown. Okay, now we understand a bit better the whole cockroach fuck up. It's a funny story, but I'll tell you another day. And the day after, she's like, yay, I love it, blah, 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 blah. The day after, so 2 days after the tattoo, she's like, I hate it. I absolutely hate it, blah, 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 blah. I need to see you again. You've got to touch it up before you go. I need to see you outside of work so that we can talk about it. And I'm like, whoa, what? And I sent her a vocal message on Instagram, and obviously I saw on Instagram who she was suddenly because I could see the chat, you know, and I'm like, fuck. And so I calmed the thing down, and I'm like, hey, you know, I can't touch it before like at least 2 months because you need to heal. It's brushwork, it's very brutal, la 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 la. Let it settle, and everything's gonna be fine. And I look at the pictures of the tattoo, and it's a great tattoo. It's beautiful, it's balanced. I've done such, oh my God, I think it's one of the most beautiful leaf I've done so far. You know, it's so nice and so soft, you know, and I'm very much into like very soft grays at the moment. And then for a month, basically, it's I love it, I hate it, I love it, I hate it, I love it, I hate it every single day. And then she starts writing the messages with another name. Okay. So an initial name starts with an M, and she started signing up with a name with an A. And I'm like, holy fucking guacamole. Like, and my friend who owns the shop is like, I think this lady is going through a psychotic episode. And she had explained to me during the session at some point that she went through a very violent divorce because her husband did something crazy, which I'm like, okay, I can understand this. And it was very crazy. Like, it was insane. Like, someone recovering from this when they've been married 20 years to their best friend. Brutal. But that's not my problem.
No, that's the thing I was about to say.
That
doesn't mean that they're allowed to dump this on you.
And if you see the emails, I stayed so courteous and so nice and so rational until I lost it. And at some point, like, I lost it. I was like, listen, I can't do this. Like, I can't just handle this. And at some point, I was like, I will reimburse you from the deposit from March, and I am not touching you ever again. Like, I even thought like, I will give you back the money so that you can laser the thing. But then my friends were like, no, no, you worked, and it's not your problem. I was like, oh my god, like, and it was going crazier and crazier and crazier. Emails got very intense, and eventually she was like, thanks for the trauma, you traumatized me and scarred me for life. Keep on looking at the text, it's really nice. And yeah, so very crazy. And then the thing is, she texted me up until the moment I was boarding my flight to go back to France, and she knew what time I was boarding. She knew everything.
What the fuck?
And there's way more crazy shit to this story, but that I won't put on camera.
No.
But it was absolutely insane. She went like, yeah, I used to be a art director, and she used to be an art director for a very big label. But I'm like, yeah, you are an art director for hip hop, and very big hip hop in the 90s. That's not tattooing. And she was like, yeah. And even the thing, she was like, we never agreed on the design. I'm like, I took all the references that you gave me, and I showed you the drawing before on you. Yeah, but it's marker pen, I couldn't understand. I'm like, that's how brushwork works. Like, it's brushwork. It's very, you can't really plan how it's gonna turn out. Like, it's brushwork is the beauty of it, you know, like, it was just crazy. But the fact that she knew everything about my life was so scary. And I think social media is mad for that, you know. It's so mad.
Yeah, it is a bit scary that kind of information can get out there, and then people will bite onto it, and they think that it means something more than it does.
But you know, I have another, like, a proper stalker that I have since I have him since 2010.
Okay. So it sounds more like you had a pet than a stalker.
Well, that man was
A very long time.
He came to get tattooed by me in Divine Canvas, and then he kept on showing up in random places and bringing me apple pies. I never touched one of those apple pies. Never in my life.
That sounds really wise.
Yes, because I was like, maybe he made it with his semen. I don't know. But yeah, he kept on doing this for years and years and years, and then sending me emails and blah blah. And one day he had a full-blown argument with himself on my emails, like breaking up with me. Kind of like he was having a full-blown relationship with me. And then he started being like, I need your real name, because I checked and basically that's not your real name, and I want to put you on my will and leave you my house and blah 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 blah. And I was like, no thanks, you know. And he kept on showing up for the longest time, like at the lace makers. He kept on showing up. Even Elliot was like, oh, there's the apple pie guy, you know. And I'd be like, I'm not here. I'd be like in the toilet, and he would come and just stay. And one day he showed up at my flat in London, and that's where I was like, dude, you just can't. And he kept on sending emails and emails and emails, like full like fantasy in his mind, you know. And that's what internet does to people, you know. A lot of people don't understand that we are tattooers, which is a job like another, you know. We're artists, yes. We open ourselves online because we have to. It's not because we want to. We have to. And other people are like, oh, you don't need to be so open about your life. We do. We don't have the choice. That's how we get customers nowadays.
That's
you know.
true.
And especially women. You know, it's a very strange thing. I don't know why. And a lot. So I don't know if internet and social media makes people mentally ill, or mentally ill people get very attracted to social media.
I think it's a bit of both. I think it's a very practical thing.
That's
for people who find
Sam
social
Beckman says.
interactions difficult. Then the internet is very helpful for them to be able to communicate with other people, but it very easily takes over. I mean, not to speak in the terms of people who are a bit, you know, out there, but when being an autistic young lad, like I was, I found it very difficult to understand social situations, because no one sat down and taught me how does social work. And I've said so many wrong things
But that's autism, yeah.
Just because I didn't know, no one gave me a guidebook, and the internet is just safer, because you're faceless, so it's safer and easier to communicate with people there, but it then becomes an addiction, because you have that tool, you have that access, and it makes people go quite far. Which is a bit freaky.
But being the recipient of erotomania, yeah, it's crazy. That's how I learned about erotomania. I didn't know about erotomania before. I went to a therapist when I went through like the meltdown of that man. I went to a therapist and she was like, "Oh yeah, you can press charges and stuff." I was like, "I don't want to press charges. I think it's just very lonely, you know, but how do I stop him?" And like the whole politeness thing, you know, because it all stemmed from this part of the conversation, you know. Yeah, tattooers, I don't know, I don't like the fact that people don't fear us anymore like back in the days, you know.
Yeah, it was easier.
Yeah, it was easier, like people were scared of you. They were like, going to a tattooer was like this crazy, scary thing. To be honest, you know, I see the people who advertise themselves as safe space, and I get sick in my stomach, because all tattoo shops should be safe spaces.
Yeah.
I remember back in the days, you know, Divine Canvas, you could have like a super, like, maybe not a Nazi, but like a super like right-wing guy that would be in the same room as like a black guy and leather and mustache gay man, and everybody was getting along. They might beat the shit out of each other in the street, but in the shop, everybody was like merrily, jolly, getting around. And this night was like, yeah, that's things. Yeah, that's things. You don't understand tattooing.
There's a weird thing too in the tattooing. The moment you put a needle in people's skin and give them pain while giving them beauty, they get strange. They start unloading and telling you, I'm not telling you this because you fucking know, I'm telling the camera and the world, people start sharing the most insane shit about their lives.
But it's okay.
This
is fine.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, it can get too much, but it's part of the deal. I also think that's something people forget.
It's part of the deal.
It's not very easy. I didn't have... no one warned me about this or gave me any type of training to deal with people's trauma dumping. It just started happening, and then you just gotta roll with it.
I was lucky because I was taught about it. You know, like Zed was fantastic about that. And he made me experience it when he did my neck. And that was fantastic. So I'm very grateful that I got to learn about this. And later in life, I learned about boundaries, because obviously having autism as well, I'm not good with boundaries, and now I've learned, you don't have to be drained every time after a tattoo session. I thought it was part of the job. But no, it's not part of the job. But yeah, the trauma dumping is fine, but when we tell you like very openly, please, I don't want to hear about this, just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
At some point I was like, I will put my headphones on. And even she carried on talking. And then I couldn't even focus. I couldn't even enjoy what I was normally listening, so I was like, fuck that.
I always tell my clients that, look, throughout the sessions, we'll be talking and we'll be quiet, and sometimes you'll be probably talking to someone else.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
It's me.
Oh, sometimes you might be talking to someone else in my studio, or I might be talking to someone else in the studio, and all that's fine. There's no requirement for us to be communicating all the fucking time. And if I go, I'm putting my headphones on, that means I'm tired and I need to just listen to my dumbass Dungeons and Dragon podcast or something like that. Because
nerd.
Because what I am doing is exhausting.
It is.
Tattooing people is exhausting, and dealing with the people you're tattooing is exhausting.
But also, like, people forget, like, we deal with bodies, and if we don't pay attention, we can sting ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, and if you have a disease, we'll catch it.
Or just fuck up the tattoo
Oh, well, yeah.
by not paying attention.
You see how much I care about fucking up? I'm like, whatever. Like diseases, no. I stung myself so many times. I should have like all the diseases in the world, and I don't have anything. Do you get tested regularly?
Sorry?
Do you get tested regularly?
I don't stab myself.
Ah, because you're not like me.
No, I've never actually pierced my skin with
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Never. I mean, the needle has run over my gloved hand and stuff like that, but it's never gone into my skin.
I did it multiple times. And then you have that awkward moment of being like, I'm going to change the needle because it's a bit blunt.
Yeah. This one doesn't work the way I want it to. One moment.
Oh, and the tube is very dirty and clogged.
This is a toilet break.
Yeah. It happened to me so many times.
But to circle back to the whole, like, social media is evil, right? I owe a lot to social media when it comes to numbers, careers, and like my book publishing business and all of that.
Yes.
Has happened because
it's pretty
social
new.
media. Huh?
It's pretty new though.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I would probably have found a different way of getting there if it weren't for fucking Instagram, TikTok and Facebook, right? There would have been ways around it. Or something else wouldn't have been invented and we'd just still be using Google and Yellow Pages and shit like that.
Oh,
and I would have been fine. Yellow Pages is turned into a shit company, by the way.
Yeah. Flyering.
But flyering. Door-to-door knocking. Hello, have you heard about tattoos?
Parties.
What?
Going flyering at parties. Giving cards away. That's a good time.
I thought you meant like, propaganda war machine.
Jehovah's Witness type.
From airplanes. Or the Jehovah's Witnesses method of just...
Oh, have you heard about tattooing?
Yeah.
Can change your life. Convert.
It's sort of similar. Give me all your money and your life will be different.
You can join a family, a real big family of weirdo the freaks.
Yeah.
So sorry.
Yeah, I don't think life would have been that different for me. The only issue is that now, with the system as it is, we're chained and enslaved to a very large capitalistic machinery that if we want to escape it, we have to put in so much work, and I don't even know where to start that to gain that freedom. And that's fucking shit. Because we're just back at feudalism. I don't want to be enslaved to some bullshit lord, in this case Mark Zuckerberg. I thought we were well past that, but no, we're actually not.
Yeah.
We have to pay the tithe and do as we're told, otherwise we don't get work by the benevolent lord, and thereby we don't get any money and we don't have food on our tables. And that's a fucked up thing that we've been moved back there by modern capitalism and greed. Very cleverly done, you fucking asshole out there, but I don't like it. I'd like to just break free of that.
Yeah, and he has no charisma.
Well, it's because he's a robot.
Yeah, no, but imagine, like, if he had this...
A badly made robot.
No, but if he was like Louis XIV charisma, I could have been on board with it, okay? Like being like, oh yeah, he's having like mad parties with all the whores behind the curtains of Versailles, and like being like, oh, look at me, I am doing the magnificent spectacle. Oh wait, I would have been fair.
Yeah, instead he's just a grey robot that only eats oatmeal. And what is he gonna wrestle?
And drinks his glass with two hands, okay?
Yes.
Like Trump. It's weird.
Lizard.
Lizard people.
Like weird. Who does that? My kid.
Your 6-year-old child.
Yes.
And Mark Zuckerberg.
Yes, but that's weird. This is all so weird. I don't know. There's something really wrong, like, about the world right now. You know, like, it's all psychopaths and nerds. Like, see, this is why yesterday we were playing that game. You don't want an autistic person as the leader of the world. So the first thing I would do, exterminate half of the population.
Very fatalistic. You turned into Thanos quite quickly.
Yeah, I'll exterminate most people.
But I was kind of on board with it. So, Anyways, to wrap it up.
We're finished? We're done?
Yeah, on the subject of social media. We can do other shit.
Yeah.
On the subject of social media, you people out there, remember, be kind and benevolent to us assholes who are chained to this shit. Like our videos, write comments, preferably nice ones, participate in debates,
No dick pics.
share our stuff, don't do dick pics. Just don't. No.
Don't
no
be
one,
weird.
No one ever wanted a dick pic. No.
No.
And if they did, they would have asked for it. The unsolicited ones, especially weird. Anyways, support your artists. There's many ways of doing it. Share our work and shit like that, so we're a little less dependent on these damn platforms.
Subscribe to our newsletters.
Yeah, subscribe to the newsletters. That's like, people get upset sometimes when I'm like, hey, you should go subscribe to our newsletter because then you get updates. Like, I don't want to be subscribed to another thing. Well, you also don't want to see me say, fuck off and you're not a fucking Viking all the time.
But then just fuck off.
So just subscribe and get my fucking news email that has all the relevant shit in it. It's much easier.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to sign off. Where can people find you on social media?
Delphine Noiztoy on Instagram, and then I have a website which is way more interesting because I write very long emotional blogs. Nobody does that anymore, but I love it. And I'm currently building a YouTube channel because I'm renovating a big house and I chat a lot of stuff, and I'm working on many things that will only be on my website. And yeah, pretty much I'd say go on my website, Bury Your Ground, with V's instead of U's because black metal. And yeah.
And you have your other Instagram, Renovation Film?
Renovation_ferme, which is like all countryside related stuff.
I enjoy that one.
Yes, I love it. And it's a beautiful, I've curated so well that there is no junk and on the For You page. It's beautiful. It's a little island of relaxation in my social media life. I love it. It's food and renovation shit. So, but yes, you can find me on Instagram if you wanna have some mental health advice.
Cool.
Don't be weird. Just don't be weird.
No dick pics. And I just don't want you to find me, so fuck off.